He was
let
like,
him die.
yeah, let him fucking die somewhere. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Upper East Siders and all you scandal-loving listeners out there. You just tuned into the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, where the coffee is strong, the waffles are fresh, and the gossip is hotter than ever. My name is Leif, and I'm your seasoned Gossip Girl veteran.
And I'm Steve, the newbie, the rookie, the greenhorn, I don't know, Leif, where do I stand in season 4?
I'm not sure, but once men have tasted caviar, it baffles me how they settle for catfish.
Well, I feel like catfish might just be the sorbet of the sea when you're getting over another really good caviar that you've just had.
Fair enough.
So here's the deal, folks. Leif has been watching Gossip Girl since it first aired, and I'm diving in for the very first time. And together, we are your dynamic duo, bringing you all the drama, romance, and sometimes questionable fashion choices of this iconic 2007 series.
Bring your magnifying glasses because each week we're dissecting every juicy detail of the show, one episode at a time. We'll connect the dots, uncover those sneaky little Easter eggs, and of course, serve up some piping hot behind-the-scenes tea. And expect some iconic fandom moments too, because what's a deep dive without a little drama?
And since we are all about inclusivity here at the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, there is always a seat for you at the Non-Judging Breakfast table. So go ahead and grab a mimosa, a cup of coffee, or call up Chuck's dealer if he still has one, and let's get this thing started.
Let's get started, and we are here to talk about Season 4, Episode 3, The Undergraduates.
Yes, which at the end of our show we discussed was, I assumed was in reference to the Dustin Hoffman classic, The Graduate. But then after doing a little research, you discovered...
Yeah, so according to IMDb, it's The Untouchables.
Yeah, which... Okay.
And then according to the wiki, it's The Underneath, which I'm guessing that's the one they're went with because it's starring Peter Gallagher.
Okay. What is that one about? Do you know?
Not really.
Okay.
But the original air date of this episode was September 13th, 2010.
What's the Peter Gallagher connection?
He was the dad on the OC.
Oh, okay. All right. That's that, of course.
And Elizabeth Shue was the female lead.
I love me some Elizabeth Shue, personally.
This episode was written by Amanda Lasher. She also managed to survive the Season 3 cullings, and our previous episodes include Say It or Anything, The Freshman, and They Shoot Humphreys, don't they?
So, Say It or Anything we like. The Freshman, I think we kind of liked. I don't think it got a high rating, but I think it did okay.
That was pretty good. That's the one where Dan and Blair go to the party together.
Yeah, and yeah, the no headbands in college. Yeah. And though They Shoot Humphreys, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't remember which one.
You didn't like that one, but I like that one. I think it's a classic episode. It was the Jenny Cotillion episode.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Right.
And episode was directed by Norman Buckley, future friend of the pod, back again after just directing episode 321, Ex-Husbands and Wives.
Yes. And always, you're always going to get good performances and some fun scene work when Norman Buckley's directing.
Indeed. Why don't you give us that Vulture recap?
All right. Last night, Intel Jessica watched Gossip Girl with someone who hadn't seen the show in a while, owing to what we can only imagine was some kind of jungle malaria or otherwise debilitating illness of the mind. Catch me up, this friend said cheerily about 2 minutes before airtime. Intel Jessica breathed deeply. Well, Chuck was going to propose to Blair, but she was late because Dorota was having a baby, and so he de-virginized Jenny by accident. Then everyone was pissed at him, so he went to Prague, where he was mugged and shot, but he's okay because he met this girl and nursed him back to health. Oh, and that he assumed a different identity and went to Paris, and he was working as a waiter at a heinous bistro that serves wine out of barrels. But then when he ran into Blair and he was going to run away to India, but Blair told him he needed to come back to New York, so He did, and he brought the girl. Oh, yeah. And Dan has a baby with Georgina Sparks. It's not really his, but he doesn't know that yet. Even before the cameras finished panning the Upper East Side, it became clear this was not necessary. Plot is now incidental to Gossip Girl as the writers' quippy one-liners. In fact, last night, 3 seasons of plot were reduced to a one-liner in which Blair, fake wrestling Serena, rattles off her romantic history. From Nate to Dan to Aaron to Dan to Carter to Tripp to Nate to Dan again. And this is fine for the most part, because what matters on this show is not what the characters are doing or what weird outside infiltrator has shown up to wreak havoc on their lives, but who they are. Dan, the self-congratulatory, sensitive, serial monogamist. Chuck, the reformed asshole, who is just one withering remark away from a backslide. Serena and Nate, the light-hearted blondes to whom everything comes easy, except thoughts. Vanessa, inscrutable film-loving prayer carpetbagger. And Blair, the vulnerable, insecure princess whose cruel and venomous streak you almost forget, until she lashes out with swift and deadly accuracy.
Fun times.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and get into Act 1. There is no opening monologue as Gossip Girl's website is under construction. Blair is frustrated that her Columbia debut won't be a topic of discussion.
Because girls at Columbia respect Gossip Girl, unlike those lowlives at New York.
Doesn't say much for NYU. For Columbia.
For Columbia, yeah. Like, oh yeah, they're far more concerned with this high school drama than they are in New York at NYU. That's good, Blair. That's a good thing.
Look out, Eric. Serena is single and eating fruit around you. Unlike Blair, Serena seems happy about Gossip Girl being down, but Eric, ever the pragmatist, says wait and see.
Get the strawberries away from Serena.
I think it was blueberries.
I think it was blueberries, yeah. Get the blueberries away from Serena. That's your brother. And he's gay. But, yeah, and just more of this building up. The Gossip Girl is under construction now and will be back. It goes back to what I said last week about how season 3, the character of Gossip Girl was I don't want to say underused in the term of like not used enough, but she was used a lot less. Mm-hmm. And of course they've kind of leaned into that here with it matters again now. It didn't matter in New York, but it feels like a stylistic, like somewhere at the end of season 3, they were like, the show's called Gossip Girl and we're not using her very much anymore. We should probably go back to that. So it feels like they're really ramping that up by taking her away.
Well, she had to get some work done.
Yeah, she had to yeah, exactly. She's catching up.
Live streaming technology added to the mix.
Yes, yeah.
Chuck wakes up and finds a note in Eva's place. He rushes out to find her on the rooftop balcony.
Yeah.
So even in good guy mode, Chuck is still super controlling.
Yeah, yes, yep.
Freaks out because she's not like waiting in bed for him.
Yeah, yeah. And throughout the episode, so many things that seem cute could very easily be seen as just ways of manipulating and controlling.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that I don't think it's malicious here the way it often was before. I just think it's all he knows. That he only knows how to control and manipulate people. Mm-hmm. And so it's not even to this same like, oh, I'm going to trick Blair into always loving me. It's, that all he knows how to do is manipulate his way through things. I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying I don't think that he knows how to live without doing that.
Serena and Blair are walking around campus and discussing managing the weird codependent relationship and decide their neutral hangout should be Hamilton House, the new secret society of the week.
Secret society. And it's so secret they all walk around with keys on their neck.
Also, it's amazing how much the Columbia campus looks like the Yale campus from season 2.
It really does.
Or the other way around.
Yes. Yeah, very much. Yeah. I did notice that as well.
Rufus is walking up to the loft on the phone with Lily. He is dreading having to tell Dan the truth about Milo. It's a rough conversation.
Yeah, go do it, Rufus.
Gotta rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. And of course, this is just a reminder from last week of what's going on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Chuck gets a text from Lily to come to the penthouse while Rufus and Eric are out. Nate gives Chuck back his little black book and tells him about Juliet. Chuck tosses the book in the trash and says he's a changed man. Then Ava enters and greets the boys and offers to cook breakfast. When Chuck ushers Ava off to the spa, Nate wonders how much Chuck has told her about himself.
And good for Nate to be kind of looking out for both Chuck and Ava in this sort of situation. There's the line that Ava says, "I'm so used to calling him Henry." And she directs that very much at Nate. And I don't think I thought much of it my first time through, other than catching us up on plot. But the second time through, it felt so much like I need to really reinforce that I did not know him by anything else other than Henry Prince. Like, it almost felt like this setup of, and I'm waiting this whole fucking time for her to be someone else. And we'll talk about that more as this goes on. But I don't trust her. She's sus to me. Why didn't you take him to a hospital? And I'm going to be so fucking mad when it just turns out that, like, oh, because she just didn't.
Blair and Serena arrive at Hamilton House to receive their keys. We are greeted to some familiar faces. First, we find out Penelope is back after missing all of season 3 and is a legacy at Hamilton House. Next, we see the Columbia girls from last season, Jessica and Zoe. Finally, we find out that Juliet is the keymaster. Serena and Blair are both confused when Juliet hands the last key to Blair and not Serena.
Yeah. Okay. I loved this for a few reasons. The one is that when they get there and she says there's only one key left, they both assume it's Serena's key and that there's no key for Blair. Blair is like, it's okay, we'll meet somewhere else and it'll be fine and it'll be great. And when she says, here's the key for Blair Waldorf, and Blair's like, oh my God, it's me. But Serena's face.
Yeah, the look on her face is great.
Serena's face of like, wait, it's not me? What the fuck? And it's something that I love about the character Serena, that they always get right every single time. I don't care about all of this social society upward mobility shit until I'm not allowed to have it. Yeah. Until you tell me no, I will shit on it, I will spurn it, I will satirize it the entire way. But once you tell me I can't have it, I'm going to burn this place to the fucking ground. Which she doesn't. Like, Serena doesn't throw a fit over it. And she actually just has that moment of shock, but it's so the core of her.
Yeah. Also, a shout out to my girl Penelope, my favorite minion, coming back.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was great to see Penelope. And also, I also have my thing for Melissa Fumero as well. So I'm always happy when she's when the Columbia girls are showing up.
That's when Gossip Girl finally comes back and announces Chuck's return to the Upper East Side with Ava. Eric sees the blast and then locates Chuck at the penthouse before texting Rufus.
Yeah, Eric's looking out though. I'm not mad at. I'm not mad.
I'm not mad. Eric's the only one who actually cares about sexual assault.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, yeah. That it's like that he's the only one that it's a deal breaker for.
Everyone's like, who cares?
And even then, it's only like when it's habitual. It's only pattern. It's like, I was okay the first time, but now, no.
Rufus is with a devastated Dan, having just learned the truth about Milo. Rufus leaves to presumably go confront Chuck. Dan sees a blast about Georgina being in St. Bart's.
I want to say St. Bart's There are so many islands that you could choose from. The one you chose was Chuck's dead dad. And I'm not saying that for Georgina. I'm saying that for the writers. That I feel like they want that name back in our head. They want Bart's name in our head. And I don't know why. I don't know where they're going with it. But it's interesting that that's the island that they chose.
I guess.
That it just struck me. It feels like those little Easter eggs that shows will try to drop. And it felt like an Easter egg to me. And maybe it's just I'm looking too deep into it because I'm looking for that kind of stuff.
It is definitely a popular vacation spot for New York people.
Yeah.
For New Yorkers.
Yeah.
If Georgina flew the coop, who's cleaning her baby's poop? Back at Hamilton House, we see that Gossip Girl now has live stream capabilities, and Serena is asked to leave.
That's right. Because they get that whole blast. It's like, nope, you don't get the key. And then it's like the whole blast comes out, and we see it's like one of these montage scenes like they did a couple times in season 3. And again, it's executed really well, having Gossip Girl kind of lay out all of these different plot pieces and then ending back where it started with Serena getting kicked out was, I thought that was a really clever string of events.
And we move into Act 2. At the penthouse, Chuck is apologizing to Lily for what happened with Jenny. Lily forgives Chuck, but tells him not to expect the same from everyone. Chuck would like to introduce Ava to the family, but Lily says for him to wait until she talks with Rufus and Eric.
Yeah. When he's like, I forget the line, but he says that he doesn't know what he's coming home to, and she's like, they're not going to be as thrilled as I am to see you. Like, I am probably the happiest person to see you right now.
Well, we saw last week, week 1, or episode 1, where Rufus was upset that like Lily was even looking for Chuck.
Yeah. He was
let
like,
him die.
Yeah, let him fucking die somewhere. Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because like
he forgives him pretty quick.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Just because Lily said, he's trying to be better.
Yeah.
I guess I just need these people to be able to interact.
Well, and that's really so what I was going to say earlier, they mentioned several times Jenny's feelings on it. That, Jenny says that it wasn't his fault. Like when it's just, when we're not there yet, but when Eric and Rufus are talking, it's like, Jenny said it's not her fault. Then later on, Lily is like, Jenny has talked to me about that from before, and she's okay with it. Like, she's moved on, and they apologize, and they've moved on with that. So it's like the writers are just like, oh, fuck. Like, what do we do? Like, oh, shit, people are mad that he assaulted someone, and now how do we, like, backpedal this? Like, we got to get Jenny to, like, co-sign that all of his stuff is forgiven.
You think they would have learned less with the pilot?
Yeah.
They spent all that time like rehabbing Chuck.
Yeah.
And just to throw it away again.
There's a part of me that feels like between the final script of that episode and the
first episode?
No. The season 3 finale. That between the finishing of the script and the naming of the episode, there were people that saw different things. I feel like there were writers that were not seeing this as Jenny being as vulnerable as she was, even though they laid it all out there and they did the entire job of making it clear that she's only sleeping with Chuck because she doesn't want to be alone and that Chuck is using her to get over his own shit. They make that clear. But I feel like there are some of those, especially, we get a lot of those old school dude writers that I feel were kind of like, well, yeah, it just happened. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they didn't recognize the consequences of what they were doing when they wrote it. That they were taking away 3 years worth of glow up.
Another kind of interesting point is Amanda Lasher wrote this episode. She also wrote the episode from last season where Jenny and Chuck have that like interaction where
He apologized.
no, yeah, and who do you think Lily would choose if she knew?
Yeah.
Well, I guess Jenny was wrong.
Yeah. She fought a lot harder for Chuck.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. But even further solidifying that point of like, I feel like there were people in that writer's room that didn't understand the consequences of what they were making Chuck do. And that shows up in this episode.
Mm. Blair comes out of Hamilton House and tells Serena that she won't accept the invite. Serena says that Blair should take it and she would never stand in the way of Blair's social progress, and that Hamilton House is more of a Blair thing anyway. A giddy Blair goes back inside.
Good on Serena. And she's right. Like, that's not her scene. It really isn't,
No.
other than the fact that she could own it, because that's what Serena does, which is why people don't want her in anyway. So their friendship this season so far really has kind of transcended a lot of their, ever since the fountain, it's kind of transcended their pettiness.
Yeah. And I will say, since we usually point out how good Leighton is, I thought Blake actually outacted Leighton in the scene.
Yeah. Oh, I did too, actually.
That laugh at the end by Leighton was kind of cringe.
The one place where I find Leighton struggles is giddy excitement. That she can be excited, but when she tries to get giddy, it feels forced.
I thought she did it really well in that episode at the end of last season when she found out about Columbia.
Yeah.
Serena then tries to first call Dan, who blows her off because he's trying to track down Georgina. Then she sees Nate and tries to buddy up with him, but he already has plans at Hamilton House.
I loved that. I loved Nate, just her being like, we should start a club of our own. Who Serena earlier is like, oh, I think Nate's been a member of that club already. So when she's like, oh, hey, Nate, and he's like, deuces. And what are you expecting, Serena? You have not had a good conversation with either of these men since you kind of pitted them against each other and dipped. And they worked it all out.
Yeah.
You weren't there to work it out with either of them. So,
well, I think her last conversation with Dan was fine, but Dan just has other more important stuff to deal with.
Dan has more important stuff to deal with, and that's why he blew her off here. I'm more talking about Nate.
Yeah.
But I'm also talking about why Dan does have more important things. There are times Dan would prioritize Serena over anything, and he's not going to do that now.
Yeah.
You know, it's because there's a kid that's not his that he's taking care of, but also because he's not.
Which is kind of a first for Dan.
Yeah.
That he is not prioritizing Serena.
Well, yeah, exactly. That there's, which is why I feel like it's a twofold thing. Yes, the baby is a more pressing issue, but is it? Are you going to find, you can't find her. You're struggling to find her. So taking 5 minutes to talk to Serena, you probably would if Serena had chosen you when you came home.
Rufus comes home to speak with Lily about Chuck, and Lily convinces him to give Chuck a chance at the party tomorrow.
Yeah.
You rolled over too easy there, Rufus.
Yeah. And I'll say this, because Rufus doesn't roll over in this scene quite yet. He just kind of listens and absorbs. And I think it's some of Matt's better acting. I think that the way that he actually I felt like his reacting to what Lily was saying, I felt that he played angry better than he usually does. I felt that he played annoyed, disgusted a little better than he usually does. I took note of that. But it was also, like you said, like, come on. Hey, guy.
Chuck and Ava are doing a little dress shopping for the event, but Chuck has to leave to speak with his lawyer. He, however, leaves Ava with his credit card and driver.
So when I was saying earlier about the control and Chuck's control, I don't know about this dress. I don't know if this is the right one. Buy all of them. Here's my credit card. Buy all of the dresses, which to me says, doesn't matter if you're comfortable in them. You're going to buy all of these and we'll figure out which one you're comfortable enough in to do the thing I want you to do. Where it sounds like I'm buying you tons of gifts, but honestly, he's grooming her for a party.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Yeah. Juliet and Blair are talking about Hamilton House. Juliet is clearly trying to drive a wedge between Blair and Serena and suggests that Blair come to her traditional drink before her dinner with Serena.
Don't really know what Juliet is up to still. Clearly up to something and clearly trying to drive that wedge.
Well, she's trying to isolate Serena.
Right. Well, she's trying to isolate Serena and drive a wedge just between the two of them. But like, yeah, you see that more.
Blair bumps into Ava and quickly gets over the shock of seeing her and goes right for the jugular.
Uncalled for, Blair.
Yeah.
This
Very
was
mean.
Very mean. It was uncalled for. There was no need to do this. That woman is not Blair Waldorf. She does not need a Blair Waldorf takedown. She is already where you want her to be. Her self-esteem and her feeling of being out of place is already where you want her to be. Although it's just like Chuck says later, which we'll get to.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that it is such a Blair thing to do, to just see something that irritates you and cut it down like that. I felt bad for Ava here. Yeah. And I just had this thought when I was watching of, I bet the forums fucking loved it. I bet the forums were like, yeah, get that dumb poor out of the Upper East Side.
At the loft, Dan has exhausted his search options and tells Vanessa that he doesn't think Georgina is coming back.
She probably used a different name, Dan. But yeah, you're here with the kid now.
Well, I think she already left.
St. Bart's?
Yeah, because when she does come back, she says she was with her parents for a day, working things out.
Right. Oh, right.
So she actually left when she was going to come back at the normal time, because she was supposed to come back this day.
Oh, okay.
She came back, but instead of coming right to Dad, she went to her parents.
I got the impression that there was no, I'll be back at this time. I got the impression from when she left that Dan was just kind of like, she's at the spa, she'll be back any minute.
Well, no, because at the beginning of the episode, he says she's supposed to be back today or something along those lines.
He does. I think he says something like Georgina will be back any minute, or Georgina will be back sometime later, or something like that. But the way I was reading into it is I felt like Dan had been saying that for days. It didn't sound like, it felt like he was waiting for her to return whether or not she was going to. But I could have also heard that wrong.
I think it was, she was supposed to go. The whole story is just very rushed.
Yeah.
She should have been gone for a while with him knowing that the baby wasn't his.
Yes. Yeah. At least an episode.
Yeah.
Because I wanted him to feel her absence more.
Yeah. Blair is having drinks with Hamilton House on some outdoor steps. She falls right back into bullying Penelope. She is about to go to the dinner with Serena, but Juliet convinces her to lie to Serena and stay with the group. However, Serena immediately catches her when Gossip Girl live streams the event.
The easiest way to manipulate Blair Waldorf is to just ask her about boys. You still need to give us tips on dating royals. Like, you can't leave now. No one wants your tips on dating royals. None of them give a shit about your stories, Blair. She just wants you away from Serena.
Well, I think the other girls probably do want to hear that.
Maybe.
Because they are fucking superficial. They are reading Gossip Girl.
Yeah. Well, and more, I feel like they would want to pretend to listen. They want to be interested more than they're actually interested.
And then Gossip Girl takes us to the break with Spotted be holding court at Hamilton House. Don't worry, S. It's not your party, but you can cry if you want to. We move into Act 3. Nate finds Juliet and once again asks her out. She hesitates because she will be working at the party, but there's not much she can say when Nate says he will volunteer as well.
This is where he's like, how hard are you going to make me work for this? Like he pulls her aside and she's like, you're really persistent. He's like, I don't get shot down.
Ever.
I've never had to work this hard. You've made me ask you out twice. Two times. How dare you?
Usually I just force the woman to stare deeply into my blue eyes and she just starts making out with me.
Yeah, like, how are you not just magnetically drawn to my beautiful face and large bank account?
But I wonder what Nate's tasks were at the event. Because what skills does he have?
Yeah, what was he handing out? He's the first guy to hand.
He was rolling joints in the back.
Separating pills.
Blair and Serena meet on the street holding matching umbrellas. Blair begins to apologize for lying, but it turns into a bigger disagreement when Serena realizes Juliet put Blair up to the lie. Blair goes on the offensive and mocks Serena for thinking it's a conspiracy that she didn't get into Hamilton House.
This is rich because, of course, Serena thinks it's a conspiracy, and of course it is a conspiracy. But of course Serena thinks it is, and of course Blair's like, fuck you. Why can't I just have this?
As Blair goes into Hamilton House, Serena sees another girl coming out who just got her key, proving that Juliet lied about Blair getting the last one. Then Serena sees Nate and Juliet walk out arm in arm, and Juliet looks back and smirks at Serena.
So you're obviously getting played by her, Serena, but you're smarter than that. You'll figure this out. Well, not smarter than that, but you're more conniving than that.
At the Empire Suite, Ava says she no longer wants to go to the party. Chuck convinces her that Blair is just lashing out because of her own insecurities, so Ava agrees to get dressed.
Once again, ignore Blair. Although, Chuck, this is the one thing that I was getting at with Blair's takedown, where Chuck says that she's not going to waste a breath on an insult that's not going to land.
Mm.
And it's just so telling of, it's such a great characterization of Blair that, like, if she comes at you, she's going to hurt.
Yeah.
And she's going to make sure that she's going to tell everything is the truth, and it is going to hurt. But also, again, we have Chuck forcing Ava into an uncomfortable situation.
Rufus is telling Eric they should give Chuck a second chance, but then Eric reveals the sexual assault from the pilot. Rufus gets dead-eye stare like he's going to murder Chuck tonight.
I wondered if he was going to hit him at some point. So that was on the table as far as I was concerned.
Now, I wonder when Eric found out about the pilot incident. Because he was pretty buddy-buddy with Chuck in season 2 and a little bit in season 3 as well.
But he was like best friends with Jenny from the start.
Yeah.
So I would only imagine that like that came up. Because it was also public knowledge between Dan and Serena. You know, Serena was there for that.
Yeah.
So I would assume Eric kind of knew all along, which is why I was like, oh, you know, fool me once, assault my friend once, shame on you, assault my friend twice.
But again, Matt settled with the good acting.
Yeah.
He looked scary.
Yeah. Like he felt like a dad in a rage.
Yeah.
And not, it's so funny because when he would do that to Jenny, it's almost like he couldn't muster it up to yell at this kid that wasn't his. It's almost like he couldn't really buy into the anger and hatred of Jenny when she would fuck up.
Yeah, maybe Matt Settle's just a better person than the writers.
Yeah. Matt Settle's on stage like, oh, office.
I really wouldn't do this to my kid.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to call the cops on my kid? Just read the line, Matt.
Oh, boy.
Because, yeah, he looked angry in this episode, and it was good acting.
Dan just came out of a social services office and tells Vanessa that if Georgina doesn't come back, he's keeping Milo as he refuses to submit him to the foster system.
No way Joe Goldberg is going to be putting that kid into the system. He knows where that leads.
Yeah. Serena confronts Juliet for lying about Blair getting the last key. Juliet tells Serena that she doesn't decide who gets in, but that Blair called the alumni committee and told them about Pete Fairman and Serena, quote unquote, sex tape.
Yeah, the Pete Fairman sex tape. Throwback to season 1. I think that's came up in season 3 too, I believe, at some point.
Definitely in season 2 at the Yale episode.
Yeah, and I believe there was a time last season that it came up too. So,
but you kind of get why Serena would buy it, because like, how would Juliet know about this?
Yes,
we know that she found out from Nate.
Well, and more to the point, she's been stalking all of them too. So
but that wasn't necessarily public knowledge.
No, I'm just saying that we don't know how far she's been able to dig into Serena.
But we know that Nate told her this. We heard Nate telling about this.
Oh, okay. That might be the other Pete Fairman reference that I'm thinking of then.
When Nate and Juliet is in episode 2 or 3 or 1 or 2, when Nate and Juliet are walking down the street and like
going through like all the rehash of all of it. Okay. Yeah. So Nate did tell her. And also to that same point, I don't feel like I felt like she feigned surprise at a lot of what Nate said. But to me, there was just those two angles of Nate has already unloaded a ton of info, but she's also been gathering intel on the non-judging Breakfast Club and Dan. Yet leaving Chuck out of it, I noticed. Well, I'll talk more about that in a little bit.
And then Gossip Girl brings us to the break with, they say old habits die hard, but when it comes to Serena and Blair, old jealousies die harder. Act 4 begins. Vanessa compares herself to Tom Selleck and Ted Danson and offers to move into the loft to help take care of Milo. Dan agrees as long as he's not Steve Guttenberg.
Guttenberg was fabulous in that movie.
Yes, which for the younger audience out there, it's a reference to a movie in 1987 called 3 Men and a Baby.
Fun movie. I saw it in the theater and also watched it a ton of times because it was supposedly shot on a haunted set. So there were all these ghost stories about what went on the set. And one of the things that you can see is there's a scene where it's all shot in one scene where they pan past a window and then have a moment with the mom and Guttenberg, or maybe Danson. And then they go back in front of the window and there's someone in the window that's rumored to either be a cardboard cutout, but at the time everyone was like, it's a ghost of the boy who died on that set. But they did like have a bunch of weird rumors about paranormal activity on the set of that movie. So I actually have seen that movie way too many times.
Have you seen the sequel though?
Yes, I saw 3 Men and a Little Lady once, but I did not think it was nearly as good.
So I wonder if all the paranormal rumors started because Leonard Nimoy was the director of the first one.
Oh, was he? That's interesting.
He was not the director of the second one.
I didn't know he directed, honestly.
Yeah, he's done a few things. And it was done by Touchstone, so I'm guessing it was like, oh, okay, we'll let you direct the movie, Leonard.
Yeah.
Then you have to do 5 more Star Trek.
Yeah, here's your contract. Including Star Trek 5. Wait, no! What have I done? The Whales. Oh, that was 4.
I like the one with the whales.
Yeah, no, I like the one with the whales. It was 5 that was where they met God.
Yes. I actually kind of liked that one as a kid, too.
Yeah, I did not.
Serena shows up at Fashion Night Out dressed to kill. All business, she finds the minions and asks where Blair is. As Serena swishes off to find Blair, the minions follow, camera phones to hand.
Yeah.
Chuck finds Rufus and Eric and is surprised at Rufus's rancor. Chuck assumed that everyone already knew about the pilot incident. Rufus says that it's his duty to warn Chuck's new girlfriend about the type of person Chuck is. So when Chuck sees Eva walking up to greet them, he lies and says she is a rando gold digger.
Rufus, it is kind of shitty to be like, I'm going to find whoever you're with. But also, like, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I'd probably do the
dangerous.
same thing. Like, I'd probably do the same thing. And Chuck just being blindsided by Rufus being like, oh no, I still fucking hate you. Like, I was ready to listen until I found out that you did, find my daughter. And like, and like he says that, like he says the exact words, like you tried to rape my daughter in the pilot.
Mm.
And well, it doesn't say in the pilot, but Chuck is like, that was years ago. It's like, Chuck, that's not the defense you may think it is. No, that was like 3 years before I actually went through with it.
Juliet finds the minions watching a Gossip Girl live stream of Blair and Serena arguing. When things appear to get physical, Juliet has seen enough and goes in to save Blair. However, when Juliet rips back the curtain, she finds Blair and Serena casually lounging and sharing drinks served by Dorota.
Well, and this is where she puts it on the TVs for everyone to watch, too. That she's like, oh, you know what? We can watch it right here. And tries to embarrass them by blasting it over over all of the TVs, only for it to all be a fake, but also wouldn't be any less embarrassing for Lily at her event. That now Juliet, who is volunteering at this event, trying to make the
whole thing doesn't make any sense. Like, why not just have Lily confront her at the beginning?
Yeah. Why not just have Lily? Why stage this big thing?
They love the drama.
They do.
Gossip Girl has this to say, though. Spotted. SMB discovering the joys of filmmaking. Smile for your close-up, Juliet. We go into Act 5. Dan, settling into fatherhood, is shocked when Georgina returns. As the scene ends, Georgina begins to explain that someone is trying to kill her.
I was bummed. Robin called it. He got off the phone, there's a knock on the door, and Robin goes, it's Georgina. And I didn't want it to be. I wanted her to be gone for a while. Yeah. I wanted this baby thing to play out a little longer.
Mm. They definitely panicked. They're like, wait, we got a baby. We don't have any more stories for this.
Yeah, what do we do with Dan now? What do we do with Dan and Vanessa if there's like a baby there?
No one wants to see that.
Yeah, there's no more party of the week. I was expecting it to maybe fall more on Lily and Rufus, that they would find out it's not Dan's, have the epiphany of this kid needs a parent, and bring him in.
Would be a nice full circle moment from giving up their own kid.
Exactly.
But cleaner to just wrap it up.
Yep. Never work with animals and kids. They had a kid on set for 3 days, and they're like, fuck this.
Juliet continues to play dumb as Blair and Serena explain that this might have worked on them in high school, but they grown-ass woman now. Lily steps in to land the knockout blow, declaring that Serena has always been at the top of the list to get in. Then she strips Juliet of her own key. Jessica and Zoe shuffle over to Blair's side, as does Penelope, albeit a little less enthusiastically.
I loved the literal falling in line behind Serena and Blair and being like, oh, fuck. Oh, God, what was I thinking? They already cooked this one. But like you said, Lily coming over and being like, yeah, I know half of the board. Why did you wait? Why didn't you just take care of this when she got there?
Serena is surprised that Nate tries to chase after Juliet, but Nate admits that he is still holding onto resentment for Serena cheating on him last spring.
This was a great Nate scene that I really loved how he was, that he ends it with, I didn't realize how mad I am at you until right now. Which Serena like trying to buddy up to him and him the first time just blowing her off and just being like, whatever, and not really vocalizing much. So this time when she tries to buddy up again and Nate's like, fuck you. Like, you cheated on me, then broke up with me, then flew to Paris, and then came back and haven't really spoken to me at all. Like, fuck off, Serena. And for him you see that seething build throughout that conversation until he finally says, I didn't realize how mad I was at you until right now. And I love that because that's a very real thing for humans to go through. To be, I don't know what's scratching at the back of my head, but I'm not comfortable. And then, it's because I'm really mad at you about this thing, which he has every right to be mad at her about. He's going to make bad choices because of it, but that's Nate.
Georgina is explaining how she got impregnated by a Russian man and that his wife was trying to kill her. Now she is free and clear. She worked things out with her parents and is going to take Milo to live with them. Dan says he isn't going to let her take Milo, but she points out that it isn't really his choice.
Which isn't entirely true.
Yeah, because he is on the birth certificate.
He's on the birth certificate, and I feel like and I believe that counts for at least an adoptive parent. I feel like if you have the Bass Empires, the Bass Vanderwoodson wealth, you can win custody of that baby if you want to, especially off of someone like Georgina Sparks, who has a history of crime, of drug use, of all of these other things that could easily be proven that she isn't, of dipping to St. Bart's. She is an unreliable mom. You have recourse here, but that would not work for the plot. And we never saw that actor again. Little baby Milo.
I will say they need to get another actor to come back for the reboot to play Milo. Like he's like 7 or 8 or something like that.
That'd be hilarious.
No, they did do it.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, he's one of the few legacy characters to actually appear in the reboot.
Oh, wow. Did Michelle Trachtenberg make an appearance before she died? Oh, okay.
It was one of her last things she did, actually.
Oh, good for her. I'm glad to hear that at least.
Lily finds Chuck and waves off Chuck's sexual assault of Jenny and says that she loves him and that Eva will love him too.
I believe there's a little something different in the relationship with Lily than it is with Rufus and Eric, in that Lily doesn't care if people are terrible. You know, I think Lily is terrible enough of a person that game recognized game.
As long as they present a good image.
Yeah, as long as you don't make me look bad, I'm there for you. And she fought for her relationship with Chuck. More than any other people on this show. She fought hard to have a relationship with Chuck, and they really do have probably the most special relationship, in a manner of speaking, of what they've done to love each other. And more than anything, I feel like this whole thing is the writers realizing that they wrote themselves into a hole and everyone has to forgive Chuck, otherwise we don't have a show anymore. Like if the whole show is people hating Chuck, then what do we...
That's why they should have just let him die.
Yeah, they should have just let him die. Yeah, they should have just let him die. That would have been a great ending for his character.
Yeah. It would have made sense. Chuck runs to Eva, who is trying to find his limo. Chuck tries to explain that it's him he was ashamed of and not her.
When he said that and called her a social climber and that kind of stuff, and she went running away, Robin's response was he was trying to protect her, but he was trying to protect her from the truth about himself. He was trying to protect himself. Yeah. But it was not anything that he meant. He was just trying to get rid of her. But it also leads him to tell her who he is and the things he's done. I believe we're supposed to believe he was honest and really laid out his past and those things. Like it's another step in this confessional that we're trying to redeem him in this one episode to make him back on everyone's side again. So he has this confessional with his now girlfriend that we're supposed to assume he told everything to.
And this is what Gossip Girl has to say about it. Sometimes you have to come clean, no matter how many dirty secrets come out. And we move into the epilogue. Blair greets real-life designer Charlotte Ronson before finding Chuck and welcoming him back to New York. He calls her out for attacking Ava and driving her off. However, Ava returns to the party and Chuck runs over to her and the two kiss while Blair watches.
That's the second cameo of the episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's one way earlier when Lily's like, "Are you going to sing for us tonight?"
Yeah. Diane von Ferguson. They mentioned her name, to von Ferguson or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said to Robin, "Do you know who that is?" She goes, "No, I'm sure we're supposed to, but I'm not a teenage girl." In 2007.
They're both fashion designers.
Right. Yeah, well, that's what Robin was like. I clearly, if we were in the fashion scene, we would recognize who those people were, was her point.
I thought she watched all those.
Yeah,
stuff.
She does watch a lot of it, so I don't know why she didn't. Who was it? Charlotte who?
Ronson.
I'll ask her if she knows it now that she knows the name.
But both are listed on the IMDb page, so.
Okay.
Nate finds Juliet prepping gift bags. Juliet admits that she made an impulsive decision to exclude Serena out of insecurity. The two kiss, and Serena and Blair see it from across the party.
You got your shiny thing there, Nate. Great, good for you.
At the loft, Dan is depressed about Milo leaving. Vanessa offers to go back to the dorms now that Milo is out of the picture, but Dan says he wants her to stay.
Great. So they're going to be living together now. Which is going to be really awkward when he goes back to Serena, because that ball is rolling, and now Serena might.
That's the last thing he thought about for himself.
Yeah,
before he got hit with the Milo bomb.
Yeah. I
want to go bang Serena in Paris.
Yeah, I'm going to go fly to Serena to bang Serena. I'm going to go to Paris to bang Serena, and then baby drop, and now it's like, oh well, Vanessa's back.
Back at the Waldorf apartment, Blair and Serena commiserate about seeing their exes with new people. But then Blair reveals that she set up the adjacent bedroom for Serena to live in.
Yeah, what could go wrong? This felt like episode 4 of season 1. It had me have that lighthearted feel of them stealing the dresses and taking pictures around the Upper East Side. Mm-hmm. I felt that in this. Their giddiness, their running in.
I can see that.
I felt that same kind of upbeat, happy relationship that they're having. So I think it'll last for a little bit, but there's obviously going to be...
I just hope that bathroom has 2 sinks.
Yes. Yeah. He said he could not get the wallpaper down in time, and I convinced him that he can.
And she did used to work for Tony Soprano.
Yeah, indeed.
At the Empire, Ava begins unpacking her bag. It looks like she's here to stay.
Okay. She goes into the room Chuck leaves. She looks around the room, opens her bag, starts to unpack, then stops for a second and looks around the room again. Now, I'm waiting for her to have something in that bag. Pull something out that's very like, oh shit, like, some MacGuffin. Oh, the locket, anything to show that she knows who this guy is already. Those glances around the room were so suspicious. So suspicious. And at the same time, I'm sitting here like, is she just
that perfect?
That perfect. And so it's really like, and I'm worried she will be, and that'll really make me mad because I want this to be some Gossip Girl scandal.
Well, I think it was telling how like innocently she ran up to Blair thinking Blair was going to be happy to see her.
Right. At the same time, I keep going back to the hospital thing. That like the whole, I found this person in the street and nursed him back to health instead of taking him to the hospital is sus.
It would have made a lot more sense if it was America. It's like, we can't afford that shit.
Right. It would also have made a lot more sense if it wasn't the middle of Prague. If it wasn't in a city, on a city street. Yeah. If it was in the countryside somewhere. But It was neither. Since you are American, I must ask for copay.
Vanessa and Dan set down some boxes and begin to make out at the loft.
Gross.
And then finally, Juliet is meeting with a prisoner. She tells him that the guys were easy, but getting the girls to break up seems a little more challenging, but that she will crack that nut eventually.
Okay. So I've kind of danced around this all episode, not wanting to bring it up. But she says the boys were easy. The girls are proving to be more difficult to separate. So that sounds to me like it's not just about separating Serena. It's about getting all of them away from each other. Now, maybe that is just to take down Serena or just to get something off of one of them. But it feels like this is a very targeted attempt to dismantle the non-judging Breakfast Club. Although they're also targeting Dan and not Chuck, which I think is weird.
But they're not really targeting Dan.
I say that because she said the boys were easy.
Yeah, getting them away from Serena.
Okay. And to me, it wasn't necessarily clear if it was just a after Serena thing or after the group thing. I feel like it could kind of, right now, the optics could go either way. Yeah, you gave Blair what she wanted.
I think all the put together, it really points to going after Serena. The fact that Serena's at the center of the board. She's removing all the other pieces around her.
I forgot that she took everything down but Serena the last time we saw the board.
Yeah.
I was thinking that it was the whole... I remembered the whole board. I forgot. You're right. The last episode, she took everything down except Serena.
Just to make things easier conversationally, I'll just reveal that this guy's name is Ben.
Okay, Ben. And I was racking my brain of who have they gotten arrested, or what have we heard of that could put people in shady dealings? Could it be related to something with Carter? Could it be related to something with Pete Fairman? Because we brought that up again. So who is this guy in jail, and why is he so interested in Serena is the big question now that we have.
And what do you think his relationship was with Juliet?
I would assume romantic, because I don't find the writers of Gossip Girl to have much more depth than that. So I would say either sibling or love interest. Sibling or girlfriend, because I feel like that's the only relationships the Gossip Girl writers know how to write.
The body language to me read romantic.
Same. But some of the Dan and Serena stuff that we've seen, and the fact that we know that Dan and Serena are probably going to get back at some point. So I agreed that it felt romantic.
Dan and Serena aren't brother and sister.
No,
they've never even lived under the same roof.
That's true.
So Gossip Girl's final monologue is, rumor has it, S&B changed their relationship status from besties to roomies. Friends or lovers, moving in is risky business. Anytime the rules change, you don't know how they'll change you. We take the risks because the payoff could be so great. But the truth is, we never truly know who we're living with or the company they keep. Better watch out, kids. Trouble's moving in and looking to make the upper side its bitch.
I feel like it was a good ground point. And I feel like it very much follows the way the other seasons have gone, that you have your season premiere that is outside of the Upper East Side and the drama that they're doing. Mm-hmm. You have your episode 2 where you're introducing to... where you're kind of resolving that stuff. And now you have the introduction to the school year episode. And so I like how this kind of set up the way they do.
And I do like that they did lump in Blair and Serena with two romantic couples in that sequence.
Yeah, they did. Yes.
So what is coming next?
we're going to dive more into this Juliet Ben thing, obviously. I wonder if Ben knows her current status with Nate, though. We do have, I should have brought this up earlier. We do have evidence now that she is not Gossip Girl or working with Gossip Girl because Gossip Girl did a favor to Blair to get Juliet.
Yeah.
So I don't think that this is Gossip Girl related. I believe we're going to see more targeting of Serena. I think we're going to see Nate not want to listen to whatever is going on. I think we're going to see Blair figure this thing out because she's single and not doing anything. I think there's something up with Ava. And if there's not, I can't imagine why there wouldn't be. It would feel so antithetical to this show, other than just, let's put a really good person in here and make just so we can really see how shitty everyone actually is. So I think Ava's up to something. And I believe those are my big predictions.
Let's get into segments. This week in fandom, we jumped into the Wayback Machine to travel to the fan forums from 2010.
Hello there, Peabody here. And this is the Wayback Machine for traveling through time. And this is my boy, Sherman. Speak, Sherman. Hello. Good boy.
They thought this episode was kind of boring. Seems like the writers are just recycling the same storylines.
I feel that. There was a lot of that. And it didn't really move at points. There was good editing that kind of boosted the flow of the episode, but it wasn't. Yeah, there were some big nothing burgers in this, especially the Milo thing. I felt was just made that whole plot line a big nothing burger.
Yeah. There was one poster that was going all in on forgiving Chuck. Like, how dare Rufus not forgive him? It's like, wow. But
yeah, that's scary. And honestly, like I said, I feel like there's those people that it's like, I feel like the writer's room was like, we fucked up. we fucked up.
Yeah, if you're going to take him that far, you got just kill him.
Just kill him. Because at this point, the glow up was hard enough, right? To turn Chuck into the pilot episode guy, into the guy that deserved Blair in season 3, and who for the bulk of season 3 was really looking out for Blair and really there for Blair. That they really did this the beginning of season 3 when.
Well, you've been sure, but remember, throughout the season, we saw Blair sacrificing for Chuck.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, that's true. That is true.
He was definitely matured in season 3 and kind of level-headed for Chuck, but
I guess that's really what I'm going at. That they definitely made him a better person for Blair. They definitely, gave him a good glow up for these 3 seasons.
Yeah. I think it was mostly in season 2. They made him a very sympathetic character by making Bart the absolute worst father ever.
Yeah, and then dying, and then killing him. Yeah, to the point where this season they were like, man, we need a little of that. Or in season 3 when they were like, we need a little of that Bart spice back.
A lot of people sad for Dan.
Yeah, I was sad for Dan.
Yeah.
I really admired that, child services scene. That him walking out of there and being like, absolutely not.
No.
Which it's so Dan too. Obviously, if a baby fell in Dan's lap, it'd be like, if a baby fell in Blair's lap, she'd be like, Dorota, congrats, it's twins.
A lot of chili love.
Is there a lot of chili?
Chuck and Lily.
Oh yeah. I'll give him that. I mean, because I love Chuck and Lily, despite hating Chuck, but I do like their relationship.
And a few people were missing Jenny.
Huh.
A little boring without a little firecracker running around.
Yeah. And we never hear from her about the assaults. It's just third hand.
Let's move on over to episode grades. I went first last time, so it is your week to go first.
I'm going to go a B-. I didn't hate it. I thought it was a little slow. I liked elements of it. There were parts that made me like feel stuff. So I'm not going to drop it below a B. I'll go a B-.
So story-wise, it was very weak. But there was, like you said, there were some good directing moments and there was some good acting. And so I ended up with a C+, slightly above average.
Yeah, and it's funny because like that's sort of where I was hovering. B-, C+. I gave it the nod because it made me laugh enough a couple of times. But
yeah, I went down to the C+ because it was just such a contrast to the last two episodes.
Yeah.
The last like 4 episodes, really.
Yeah. The last 4 episodes were some of the best that they've had.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they shit the bed in the plot in this one, despite having some good writing, some good dialogue. I shouldn't say good writing, but good dialogue.
Yeah. Moving to Stockwatch, who do you got going up?
I have, well, I'm gonna say Chuck because everyone forgives him. I'm gonna have Blair and Serena because they got into Hamilton House, and I'm gonna have Nate going up because even though he doesn't know he got the girl, is what I'm saying, even though she's a piece of shit. And I think that's gonna be it for going.
So I actually had a lot of neutrals this week. I had Juliet being neutral because she failed her scheme, but she did get to kiss Nate.
Yeah.
Blair because she was a good friend to Serena, but then she was just a horrible person to Eva.
She was horrible to Eva.
So she's neutral as well. And then Dan, he was ready to step up, but he does have his son ripped away from him at the end.
Yeah.
So he's neutral. So going up, I had Chuck because everyone forgave him, and he got Ava. Ava, I get going up because she's living the dream life.
I meant to give Ava up actually.
I had Georgina going up because she worked things out with her parents and seems like she's gonna take responsibility. Serena, I had going up because she was a good friend and she got it to Hamilton House. I had Eric going up for being the one sane person to not forgive Chuck. And I had Vanessa going up because she was also ready to step up, and now she living with her dream guy.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. Okay, I should give Vanessa an up too. I was going to give her a neutral, but you're right that she won out in that.
Who do you have going down?
Before I go do my going down, I kept Eric neutral because at the end it still felt like he came around. that yes, he was the one holdout, but I do feel like in the end he was like, okay, just don't do it again. But I had Dan going down because he was going to step up, but then lost Milo and then ended up living with Vanessa and making out with her. So Dan's stock dropped for me. I think that might have been my only one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I actually had Juliet going down for getting busted and Penelope going down for, being Blair's minion again. Back to old habits. I let the other two go neutral, but Blair went down. I mean, Penelope went down.
Yeah. For me going down, I had Lily because, rape apology, never a good look.
Fair.
And Penelope because, she's Blair's bitch again.
Yeah. I think Penelope wants to get me a martini.
But here's the best outfits from the last episode we've seen.
What did you have for best outfit?
I almost gave it to Blair for that blue top that she wears in the rain when she had the umbrella. But then I saw the rest of the outfit and was like, not loving the skirt. I actually am giving this to Penelope. That blue dress that she was wearing at the fashion night out, I loved it. It was blue kind of sequins, I think, or at least kind of shiny material and I love blue. So I thought that looked really great.
So for me, this guy got some love in like early seasons, but last season he was kind of got boring with the business suits. But I like Chuck's navy blue suit with the light pink shirt and the black tie and the pink pocket square.
I like that they're back to dressing Chuck again. I agree that
the first suit was very ugly.
Well, but I'm saying but they're trying again. You know, like even though it didn't work,
it was something different.
Right. Whereas
wasn't just like a plain business suit.
Yeah. Whereas season 1, his clothes were amazing. You know, he won quite a few episodes. So yeah, it's nice to see him back in the best dressed column.
That is it for segments. Do you have anything to plug this week?
I do. I am now a professional GM, and so you can go to startplaying.games and search for my name, Steve Marchon, Marchion, and you can hire me to run Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder games or any other tabletop role-playing game. If you're into that, book me. I'm happy to run games for people. I'd also like to say you should stop by my TikTok, steve.marchon. That's also my Instagram handle. And you can find me at Blue Sky at The Weed Wizard. And I believe that's all my stuff. Oh, Threads, steve.marchon.
All right. For me, I'm going to recommend the game Humanity. If you have PlayStation Plus, it is part of the game catalog right now. But it's also available on like pretty much everything, PC, Xbox, etc. It is ostensibly a puzzle game where you lead the masses of humanity into the light, but it gets kind of deep and philosophical, and I really enjoyed it. So go check that out. And if you want to follow me on social media, you can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky at Hot Capicola. That's HOTCAPICOLA. You can follow the podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at Non-Judging Breakfast Pod. And you can find links to our Patreon and our Discord server on our website, nonjudgingbreakfastpod.com.
And if you would like to get in touch with us, we would love to hear what you have to say. Please send us an email at nonjudgingbreakfastpod@gmail.com. And we would love to hear your thoughts and maybe even read your email here on our show. And while you're listening, if you would please go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, follow button, and go ahead and leave a comment for us. That really helps boost our visibility in Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And while you're at it, why don't you go ahead and make us your water cooler talk? Tell your friends what you're listening to and catch up with us every week, and let your friends catch up with us as well. And finally, go Birds.
And next episode, we will be back next week to talk about Season 4, Episode 4, Touch of Ava. The episode description reads, Nate suspects that Juliet is keeping a big secret from him and decides to confront her. Blair schemes to undermine Chuck's newfound happiness, and Dan finds himself torn between his feelings for Serena and Vanessa.
God damn it, how did I not predict the Blair interrupting the Chuck Ava thing? How did I not predict that? It's interesting how these Max descriptions obviously were written well after the run of the show was over, because I feel like they don't always capture the title. This one does a little more, but they don't always capture the title as much as like the one other subplot that they're not even mentioning will do sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting stuff. And got a little blast from the past. And another character coming back next week.
Oh?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Okay. I've got guesses.
It relates to the Nate and Juliet thing.
Okay. So it could be, well, if they're after Serena, I'm leaning towards Aaron, personally.
At least to what I just said in that description about Nate suspecting a secret.
Yeah. Oh, so wait, there's...
You want to know?
No, I'll find out. I'll wait. I'll wait.
All right. Until next time, you know you love us.
XOXO.
Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Oh, it seems I'm walking right to your door. My heart's still resting, looking for something more. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Never feels right when I'm out here on my own. I left last night and it feels like way too long. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Come back to me. Smile and you'll make my life complete. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me